challenge. Let's bring in Fred Fleitz, former National Security Council Chief of Staff and Vice Chair at the America First Policy Institute Center. I want to play something that the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said earlier today about the possibility of this, Fred, escalating to nuclear war. Listen here.
Raising the alert of Russian nuclear forces is a bone-chilling development. The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility. The security and safety of nuclear facilities must also be preserved. It's time to stop the horror unleashed on the people of Ukraine and get on the path of diplomacy and peace.
So, Fred, at least a couple of times, Vladimir Putin has warned the West, look, I've got nuclear weapons. I'm putting them on some sort of special combat readiness. And, you know, you've got nuclear weapons areas all through Russia. It is just a short hop over here to Europe, down to Turkey, even into far Western Europe. And then, of course, intercontinental ballistic missile could hit the United States. But what do you think the likelihood that he would do that is?
Well, I don't blame the UN Secretary General taking this very seriously, that the readiness of Russia's nuclear arsenal has been increased. And we have to take very serious threats to nuclear plants in Ukraine. These are war crimes. You're not supposed to conduct warfare near a nuclear plant. But having said that, I think the chance of Putin using nuclear weapons is extremely low. I mean, it would bring NATO into the conflict. It would cross a red line that I think would just change not just the nature of this conflict, but the whole world order in a way that really would be put to Putin's disadvantage. And I mean tactical nukes, to battlefield nukes. Nukes like that, if let's say he set off a battlefield nuke in Ukraine, that would endanger his own troops. It would set off radiation that could drift into Russia. I don't think it's going to happen unless NATO intervened in Ukraine. I
want to bring up something troubling. This is a picture of a MiG-31 that's equipped with a Dagger hypersonic weapon. This can carry a 500 kiloton nuclear warhead, and that's 33 times more powerful than the bomb that was dropped in Hiroshima back in 1945. And if you take a look at the range of that missile as well, these are stationed at Kaliningrad, which is Russian territory. It's got about a 1,200-mile radius, which would mean that literally any capital, save Lisbon and Madrid, could be in the crosshairs there. So that's a potential thing to worry about, because these hypersonic missiles, you wouldn't even see it before it hit.
Well, the theory of mutual assured destruction is still there. Doing that would risk a devastating counterattack. I don't think Putin's going to do that. It's worth thinking about, but I don't think it's going to happen.
And let me come back out here as well to the overall map of where we are in Ukraine, because the specter of chemical weapons, as you heard Jens Stoltenberg say, has been raised yet again. Do you think that in all of this carnage that is going on now, Putin would say, you know what? I'm going to drop a few canisters of sarin gas in the middle of Kyiv or Kharkiv and try to end this?
You know, there's a lot of analysts saying that this could happen, that Putin may be desperate. He may turn to chemical weapons. I also think that's very unlikely. This would increase international outrage against Putin to such a level. It could bring in NATO. It could cause him the support of India, possibly China. And in terms of making a difference on the battlefield, he'd have to use an awful lot of agent. It would put his own troops at risk. I don't think the conflict is going in that direction. I can't see Putin doing that.
In terms of the response, the White House was very careful to not lay down a red line here. Now, Obama laid down a red line in Syria, and then when Bashar al-Assad crossed it, Obama didn't do anything about it. Do you think it's a prudent strategy for the Biden administration to not lay down a red line? Or should they say to Putin, if you use chemical weapons, we're not just talking severe consequences here. We're talking about X, Y, or Z.
I don't want any more red lines or ultimatums. I want the Biden administration to push for negotiations, to push for a ceasefire, for a de-escalation. There's been too many threats, too many red lines that we don't honor. And I mean, we have to stop threatening China. Let's press the Chinese to press the Russians to de-escalate. All these threats aren't getting us anywhere.
Fred, it's great to have you at the touchscreen. Appreciate you coming in.